18.1 is a triplet. The first part of the triplet is toes to bar. The third part of the triplet is calories on the Concept 2 rower. The second part of the triplet is the dumbbell. The hang clean to overhead.
What in the world is David Castro doing here?
Well, I'm glad he's here, though. He's been MIA for a little while.
No kidding, been out for a year now.
Yeah.
And here he is, eavesdropping on the Better Everyday podcast.
Yeah. I feel pretty special. We got Ryan in the house. I'm joining the team today.
Who are you? I bet there's some members that don't know
Yeah,
who you are.
Ben Plotnicki.
Yep.
What would you call me? I'm like
I'd call you one of the best masters athletes in the world at the 40 to 44 age division.
I'd have been a little higher ranked if I was one of the best, but thank you.
Well, I mean, what
You're trying to flatter me a little
10,000 of you?
Yeah, it's up there.
And you're what, top 150, 120-ish?
Yeah.
So,
somewhere in there.
A little bit better than I did this year.
Yeah. Well, if you squatted more, that might be different.
We won't talk about that. Anyway, we got Dr. Colart back. Went on 2 weeks of vacation.
No.
You know, he was meant to be a co-host of the show, and then he tells me, you know, I got to take 3 weeks off because I got to move and got to go chill on the beach for a couple weeks. So
you need to sign a contract with him because I imagine he's going to have life happen again here pretty soon.
Well, without a doubt, it's always something with him.
By the way, I'm out of town next week. So.
Sounds about right.
It's also why he doesn't have his own personal life.
Right, yeah.
There you go.
So I'll just sit here and
just sit there on the bench,
right?
JB.
Yeah, he is to your left, so he's left out.
Oh, good one.
All right.
Dad joke for you right there.
So members, CrossFit members specifically, this episode is going to be for you guys. We're going to do something a little different here. We are looking at introducing the workouts a week in advance, giving you guys insight to our thought process behind the programming, some game planning, and then what else, Ben?
Just kind of some long-term projections and where we're trying to go and what we're trying to do with the general goal of fitness.
Right. So I know you and Josh are, what are we, 6 weeks into this first batch of programming
Yes,
that you guys
that is
have
correct.
collabed together?
Yes.
Okay.
We're 6 weeks in. We did some testing 7 weeks ago, obviously. I don't remember the dates off the top of my head, which we're also getting close to a retesting phase. And I guess it's a couple of things we want to do here is get the people excited about the next week, but also say, hey, testing's right around the corner.
Right. So we're going to give them next week's programming, and then they would retest the next week.
Correct.
All right.
Now, I do want to say something really quick about testing is I go back and forth in the value of testing. Testing is super valuable to see if you are making improvements in how we define fitness. And it's not what Google would define fitness, but it's how we define fitness within the sport of CrossFit. But I do often feel a lot of times psychologically when you say test, some people attach a little bit more stress to this idea of testing just because it might put a little psychological pressure on somebody wanting to do better as opposed to just a regular day of training.
Right, and I've noticed common trends with your all's programming on a week-to-week basis, and let's say you're an athlete that doesn't come in one specific day every week. You can't expect when we retest, if you were to come in on a Wednesday and you haven't been coming in on Wednesday, to see improvement.
Well, one of the things that we have done is we have alternating fixed weeks. Let's say on 1 week, if everybody's kind of noticed that Wednesday very often is a squat intense day, but the following Wednesday, it's not lower body intensive. It's very what we call mixed aerobic work. So we are trying to have this, if you aren't consistent within your days, that you are getting some differences in the design that's put forth on training.
So dang funny. You program those squats every Wednesday, and I don't even squat. Like, are you trying to guilt trip me into squatting?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay, thought so. You want to go ahead and we'll just go ahead and announce what the workouts are looking like next week?
Let's go ahead and get into the workouts.
All right,
and for everybody to know that we're just going to specifically talk about this week, right?
Yes.
This coming week, yes.
Yeah, and we're looking, like I said, I don't know if I said it or not already, but maybe once a month we would do this.
Okay.
It's not something we'll be doing weekly by any means.
Yeah. You don't want me to steal your show?
Basically.
Okay.
We
I think
got
it's
to
fair.
feature Ron every once in a while, yeah, even though he's on the bench. All right, let's open up with Monday. Monday, you will have a bar on your back, and it will look like a 16-minute clock
Oh no.
doing back squats. All right, we're doing a 2x2x2, so 6 reps. You guys are going to go 3 sets of that. Okay. After that, your Metcon for the day, 6-minute clock. We're going to go 15 jumps on top of a box. You're going to grab 1 dumbbell, sling it between the legs, and lock it out overhead. We're going single arm dumbbell hang clean and jerk.
Yeah.
Then we're going to get beach ready and go 9 toe to bar. Okay? So you got a 6-minute AMRAP there. You guys are going to go so hard that we're going to award you with 3-minute rest, and we're going to do that 3 times. So what are you looking for with the athletes here, Ben?
We'll start with the back squat. We've got that 60-minute clock, so it's basically, like you said, it's a set of 6, but we're going to do 2 reps. We're going to take a break, 2 reps. So this is going to allow us to push the weight a little bit heavier than we would for a normal set of 6. We are looking for some good strength development in the legs here. The back squat's probably one of the best to develop overall leg strength. So we're looking to push that volume. And in a 16-minute clock, we know some people will push weight that they might need a little bit longer rest. So it'll look like 3 or 4 sets when you guys see it on Wodify. However, you might need less rest, so you might get some more volume in, or you might need much longer rest and you'll only get 3, maybe 4 sets within that 16 minutes. So we're looking for some overall leg strength or absolute strength when we talk about this on a continuum basis.
So is there tempo on that too?
There is a tempo on that. Thank you, Brian, for bringing that out. You did keep him around for a reason. One of the things when we use tempo, it's to control the negative here. So we're looking for a 2-0-X1, which means you'll lower the squat for 2 seconds, a 1 1000, 2 1000, no pause in the bottom. And when you see an X, that means with intent. So if you've got a really heavy barbell on your back, the intent is to be powerful, to be explosive. You might not move fast, but the intent is there. And we want to have 1 second at the top. Tempo can have a couple of different values, but one, we're looking for some consistency in the movement pattern, that each rep throughout that set will look the same. So that's the primary goal of some tempo here.
Okay.
Now, when we move forward into the 6-minute AMRAP, the box jumps, the single arm dumbbell hang clean and jerk, and the toe to bar, that looks extremely familiar to something that we did in the testing phase, and that we will retest, which was an 18-minute AMRAP of the same triplet. What we're looking for when we take 6 minutes and we're getting rest, we're trying to increase the output here because you are going to get some rest. That way, we're looking to push our threshold here a little bit more when you are rewarded with rest. And our goal with a lot of these things are to stay aerobic. So when we're using, without going down the wormhole of energy system development or energy system training, when we're using oxygen for energy, everything is pretty sustainable. So that's our goal here, is to have a high sustainable amount of reps.
So Ben, for example, if I'd done that 18-minute tester week 1, and I got 3 rounds, let's say in the first 6 minutes, I should be shooting for 3.5, 4 with these 6-minute sets, correct?
Now in the testing, before we answer that, in the testing it was the 18-minute AMRAP.
Right,
so we didn't
unbroken,
do this,
right.
Unbroken, straight through 18
Yes.
minutes. So the goal should be whatever you got in that test week, that you are getting more reps, more rounds here, because you are getting the rest.
Correct.
And we're challenging the system and the skills of the movements that you can kind of push through those thresholds because you are getting the rest.
Right. Anything else you want to touch base there on Monday?
I don't think so. I think a couple of the questions that Ryan had with tempo and those kind of things, I think we handled it pretty well.
Cool. Ryan, you want to give us insight on Tuesday?
Okay.
Or, yeah?
Well, I just wanted to add something to Monday, like challenges. First, what I look at, not only it being a fire breather, but grip strength. I think in prepping for the workout, understanding what you need to do to actually prepare your body to do that. Going in and doing that workout and not warming up properly is not a good idea.
Correct.
Right? So making sure that your body's ready to go. I'm thinking grip all day long on that
Yes.
workout. Other than breathing hard, I know my grip would be very taxed going through that. So
Well, you do get a little bit of grip break when you're on the box jumps, of course.
Sure.
Since the dumbbell work is single arm, so you do get a little break as you're
from right to left, yeah.
from right to left as you're doing one and you're switching arms there.
Mhm.
So yeah, there is the total bar becomes grip intensive, and a dumbbell is a little bit more grip intensive than a barbell.
Yeah.
But yes, that is something. Now, one of the things that it's hard to encourage, but the warm up and the super importance of the warm up is get a couple of rounds in before you actually
Right.
say 3, 2, 1, go for the clock. But most of the time, people don't want to do that because they want to save their energy before they get into the workout. However,
It actually primes you to
Yes,
do the
correct.
workout. Yeah.
yeah, and one of the analogies that I like to use pretty frequently is if you like scary movies, what?
I don't.
No, you don't.
No, hate them.
You hate them?
Who likes being scared? I know.
I would guess like then to get conditioned to them, you need people to randomly scream at you every once in a while, or what?
Well, so think about the value other than just twisted, morbid, scary movies. The or haunted houses. The biggest value in them is the surprise, the element of surprise. So a lot of times, if we get into a workout and you've never primed the pump, it's an element of surprise to the heart, to the blood, and the mind. So therefore, if you address that a little bit in the warm up, it's a little less of a surprise.
There you go. So
I like
instead of taking 5 minutes to take your lifters off, get a couple warm up rounds. in.
Exactly.
All right,
Yes.
go ahead and introduce Tuesday.
Okay, Tuesday, coach-led technique primer, which is kind of what we were hitting on a minute ago. That looks like we're gonna kind of prepare ourselves for this EMOM. It's an EMOM. What every
2 minutes.
every 2 minutes on the minute for 5 sets. First minute, 1 clean plus 2 jerks. Okay. Pulling from-
Wow.
yeah, wow. Pulling from the ground and then twice overhead. Very nice. Second minute, 2 to 6 dips plus 10 to 15 hand release push-ups.
Yes.
Okay.
Ow.
Excellent. Excellent. After that, there's another every second minute on the minute times 4, 1 clean plus 1 front squat at 75 to 80% of your 1 rep max. If it feels good, go up to 85 to 90. Yeah, okay. Ooh.
So Ben, there's no conditioning that day.
There is no conditioning that day.
What?
So wait, my heart rate's going to go up by just lifting a heavy barbell?
However, the value within strength training, we don't always need to have our heart rate up every single day. I
But
know.
that's what defines a good workout in my book.
So what we're looking for here.
That's why you coach Bird.
When we look at, if we were to throw out the 10 general physical skills, I know we're supposed to be talking about training here, but this might be some valuable information for everybody. If we look at the 10 general physical skills that CrossFit defines as fitness, you have strength, cardiovascular, respiratory endurance, stamina, but strength is standalone. And a lot of times if we get way too much conditioning, that might take away from some of our strength development. Previous day, we started with a back squat and then went into conditioning, so we're looking for a little balance of the two. Now here, we're looking for some skill in the barbell with the clean and the jerk, and then we're looking for some upper body pushing development, some muscle endurance with the dip and hand release push-up. So we don't want to mix signals here in the brain. The brain processes this information as a skill and strength day. If we throw in some conditioning here, the brain has got to process and decide which one it wants to prioritize.
So kind of like this Tuesday, we had push-pull in the format of pull-ups and bench press.
Yes. Yes.
So we're still push-pulling, just different modalities.
Now when we talk about that, we mentioned earlier, kind of leading in before we talked about the week, where we have weeks that alternate. So in 1 week, you would see on Tuesday is upper body pull, upper body push dominant. Now here in this week, we're looking for a little bit more of upper body pushing and a little bit of lower body pull with that clean.
Right.
So it's a different from last week that you're speaking of with that. So what we're looking for here is in that clean and that jerk, we're trying to, for some people it'll be skill with that barbell work, and for other people that are pretty efficient in that movement, they can actually express a little bit of what we call strength speed. And that is, it's not all strength because the barbell has to move fast in the clean, barbell has to move fast in the jerk. So that's why we label that as a strength speed piece.
Got you.
And then we're looking for some upper body pushing endurance in two different planes. We've got a vertical and a horizontal plane there, which when we look at good shoulder function, we want to make sure that we have multiple different planes that we're working on there.
Good deal. So go ahead and introduce us to Wednesday.
So Wednesday is more of an aerobic day. So we've had barbell the previous day on Tuesday. Monday we had the mix that's leading towards the test. So now the day that you would ask for is all conditioning. So we have 3 10-minute AMRAPs. The first one's going to be a 250-meter row, followed by 10 power snatches, 10 wall balls. You'll go through that for 10 minutes, resting 5 minutes. And then from there, we're going to go to another 10-minute AMRAP. That is going to be a little bit of bike work, going for calories there. Then we're going to get some Russian kettlebell swings and an actual isometric hold with tuck hangs on the bar. Going through that for 10 minutes, resting 5 minutes. Then we've got 10 minutes of work to finish us off in this piece with a shuttle run, single dumbbell step overs on a box, and alternating dumbbell snatch. So it's 30-minute total AMRAP, broken up in three different ways.
Yeah, so one thing I'm looking at right there, Ben, is obviously we can always move on the row. You got that power snatch at a 75-45.
It's pretty light.
I'm sure you designed that with the intent to go unbroken.
Yes.
For as much as possible.
Yes.
On that second piece, you had the bike, and then you had those eye-level kettlebell swings, which once again we want to hopefully be going unbroken on. And then I saw the 50-pound dumbbell step over, but it's single. So
yes, it's not two. It's one dumbbell.
Once again, dangling that carrot, and we should be able to go unbroken.
Now let's kind of talk about the Monday, Tuesday leading into Wednesday. The Monday has a really high output, really intense workout. Tuesday is you were worried that you weren't going to get your heart rate up from just the barbell.
You'll get your heart rate up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Tuesday there's no specific conditioning, and now on Wednesday we're going longer and more steady state there. So we have this Monday of high output, shorter splits and intervals there. Tuesday just a barbell. Wednesday now we've got longer AMRAP. So we've got this mix of what when we look at defining expression of fitness, think about 5Ks and 10Ks. Those are continuous movement. Our goal is to have continuous movement for anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes.
Right.
That's what we're looking for kind of here today. Then you might have a 100-meter sprint, for example, if we're using running as our idea here. Tuesday, that's shorter. That's like doing sprint intervals. And then Monday, we might be doing some 400 repeats here. So those would be using running analogies for when we look at fitness, and this is how we define preparation for fitness, for preparing for a little bit of everything.
So we're working different energy systems on a daily basis.
Yes, 100%. And the body will respond to this the best when we give it a blend. Where if you spend too much time in one energy system, Greg Glassman once said to me that we fail at the margins of our experiences, and that has stayed with me for a long time. So if we, in fitness, if we're looking for this well-rounded fitness, if we spend too much time in one state, then we're going to become weaker in other ones. And that's where in CrossFit and high-intensity exercise and Fit Club and many of these other modalities that are out there, we fail at the margins of our experiences. If we specialize in one thing, we might become really good at that one thing, but get weaker in something.
Right.
I once had a buddy who said to me, he said, what you're moving houses right now,
Yeah.
he said, if I'm going to move and I need some friends to help me move, I don't want to have just the marathoner help me move. I want to have the guy who's got a good Fran time, and I want to have the guy who's got a good 5K time. I want that guy who can do a little bit of everything to help me move.
Speaking of movers,
Yes.
shout out to Gentry Moving Company.
Yeah.
They are awesome.
Okay. All right. Gentry Moving Company.
Yeah, so we hired these guys to come and help us move. These 4 guys are all over the age of 55, 60 years old, and I've never seen people work so hard in my life.
Yeah.
They were humming it the minute they got there. Moving. They didn't eat. They only stopped to smoke. That was it.
Love it.
Which that's pretty impressive in itself.
Oh yeah, they worked. I mean, they were running circles around Carrie and I. It was kind of crazy. Anyways, yes. Or other than CrossFit, or higher than
Higher
Gentry.
Gentry.
Yeah,
Higher
there you
Gentry.
go.
Maybe we need to go recruit them as clients.
Maybe.
We'll have to give them a smoke break in between the back squat and the one. All right, so Thursday, we're looking at 5 rounds with a partner. It says 50 double unders each. Is that going to be at the same time, Ben? Is that what we're
No,
doing?
that's gonna be one at a time. So you get some kind of built-in rest.
Okay, so we're going 100 then. And then we're going to synchro Turkish get up.
Oh,
Just when I didn't think it could
What?
get any harder with synchro movements.
Turkish get-ups? I've never seen that before.
Well, come to class on Thursday.
Okay.
I'll believe it when I see it. Why have you been programming all these Turkish get-ups, Ben?
I think Turkish get-ups might be one of the most underutilized exercises. There is, other than it's not, when we talked about the clean, we talked about strength speed. That's when a movement's pretty fast and heavy. Well, the Turkish get-up's probably going to be on the slower end of the spectrum, closer to what we would call absolute strength, which it's a slower, I don't want to use the word methodical, but it's just not explosive. And in the Turkish get-up, there's pretty much not a single joint in your body that you don't use throughout the movement.
Right.
Chris Rasnick talks about braceage all the time, and that's the foundation of the Turkish get-up, is the midline. The core has to be so strong and stabilized. The shoulder goes through just about every range of motion that it can go through, that ball and socket joint. Same with the hip. It goes through about every range of motion that it can. Shoulder stabilization too, the leg drive to be able to stand up, and then just the control. I think Turkish get-ups are probably so underutilized. They're boring. We'll all be the first to admit that, but the value is fantastic.
So, real quick story. About 10, 12 years ago, I was reading a fitness article, and they had asked fitness professionals in all these different fields, you only get 3 exercises the rest of your life. So I took pen and paper, wrote all these exercises down, and the most common answer was Turkish get up. You only get basically that movement to do the rest of your life. Because of everything, it works.
Yes.
So
I'd say for me it would be snatch and Turkish get up.
Yep.
Snatch and Turkish get up, 100%.
Ryan, you got 1 exercise the rest of your life. What are you doing? 12-ounce curl?
No. Not a 12-ounce curl. Actually, that's not considered exercise.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I
Depends on how you approach it.
I love the Turkish get up. I mean, that's
You ever done a beer mile?
a beer mile. I have done burping Fran before. You ever done that?
Burping Frank.
Yeah.
No.
21 beer,
Okay.
15 beer, 9 beer.
Beer
There's
to
a,
finish?
Yeah.
Beer to finish?
You could add that.
Okay.
there's a old video out there on the CrossFit Journal somewhere that it was In and Out Fran, and it was 21-21, and then I think it was a double from In and Out Burger, then 15-15,
Oh.
and it was a triple, and then it was 9-9. It was a quadruple. So if you've never had In and Out Burger, the triple is three pieces of meat and 3 pieces of cheese.
Puking.
Yes.
That's what that
But there's a video somewhere out there, so if you want to really look for it and dive through the archives, In and Out Frank.
And that's Friday's programming.
So, Ryan, before you announce Friday's programming, what was that 1 exercise though?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, I really like the Turkish get up. I love to row as well. And I like the snatch on top. It's just it's the overall full body compound movement thing that I like. So I think that would be it. But in in what situation would you actually only be able to do one exercise? I mean, it's kind
You're
of
on a deserted island with
Just,
a barbell.
You know.
then you could do yeah.
You can snatch trees and do Turkish get-ups with
They
coconuts.
go yeah. Turkish get up's a tough movement though. 53, man,
Yeah.
that's tough. That's gonna be, you know, scaling that workout is, you know, scaling Turkish get ups. Oftentimes people don't have that shoulder mobility that
Yes.
allows them to really
Correct.
challenge and push that RX button. 53's, that's a tough workout there.
Now, before we move forward, before you announce Friday, I want to talk about that and just kind of how it flows into the week. So, we talked about earlier having intensity, higher intensity on Monday. The intensity was relative but longer on Wednesday. The intensity was shorter and quicker on Tuesday. Now we have this double under and Turkish get up, the synchronization of this. A lot of times we like to throw challenges out there that people feel extremely challenged, but in a synchronized Turkish get up, we're forcing you to slow down.
Right.
So we've spent some high intensity moving fast throughout earlier in the week. We're forcing you to slow down. We're still working hard, but we're slowing down.
So my question, Ben, is what is the best way for us to synchronize? Are you going to be over there and I'll be here and we'll face each other, or are we side by side verbally cueing each other? Because I know when I do a Turkish get up, I like looking at the ceiling and finding a focal point, so I'm keeping my midline tight.
Is it kind of like the, you know, synchronized burpees where you have to like finish, all right, we're both up top and then now we come down at the same time? Like, how would you consider that, you know, what's the standard of the movement?
Standard of the movement in a perfect world,
Right.
which, you know, we live in, right?
Right.
Standard of movement in a perfect world would be basically each position, because I think I've counted the Turkish get-ups, basically an 8-step movement, I believe, that you would be in synchronization at that each position of that Turkish get-up.
Oh,
Is
wow.
it realistic for a team to click RX on Thursday?
It will be extremely hard within the time class parameters.
Okay.
And loading, to do appropriate loading, because not only do we say is the Turkish get-up a roughly an 8-step movement, it's probably about an 8 to 10 second per rep.
Yeah.
So if we think about 10 reps per round,
Minute and a half, 2
Yes.
minute set.
under tension.
Right.
And that's, and you want to talk about feeling absolutely smoked after a day for not accumulating a huge amount of reps. That's going to be a ton of tension and compression
Get
throughout
your
the
money's
body.
worth on
Yes.
that day for sure.
Yeah, so what's a realistic time to finish here? Is that
Oh,
going to be a
man.
30-minute or?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
All right, Ryan, give us Friday.
Okay, Friday. Overhead squats, nice. It's kind of a similar setup as to Monday's back squat. We're overhead squatting, so 3-3-3 with tempo. So is that just 3 sets of 3? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Okay.
3 sets of 3.
3 sets of 3.
And when we see this, so there's a difference, and if we're getting super technical and writing a programming, when you see a 3-3-3 like today is, or a 3.3.3, spacing in between, you're wanting to increase weight versus if
Gotcha.
it was a 3 times 3,
Yeah.
same rep scheme, same amount of sets, but a 3x3 would normally mean, if we're being super technical, you want the same weight to be across. So if we see a 3-3-3,
You're increasing.
our goal is to increase weight on each set.
That's good to know. Okay, awesome. All right, so B portion, this is a Metcon partner workout, 10 rounds, record individual times. Okay, so we're doing how many sets?
10 rounds individually for ton.
Wow, okay. 300 meters for the guys, 250 meters for the girls on the rower, 12 burpees over bar, and 6 overhead squats, 115 for guys, 75 for the ladies, and you're alternating rounds. Excellent. So each partner's doing 5 rounds.
Correct.
Right. So a total of 10. Nice.
So let's start from the top here. So we have this overhead squat. And in my opinion, the overhead squat is one of the great indicators of overall movement freedom. There's a lot of people that are extremely limited by mobility, whether it's hip function, ankle function, thoracic, shoulder function, So a lot of people limited by weight here because of lack of movement freedom, or there's people that excel in this because they have really good movement freedom. But the overhead squat to me is a great indicator of where you sit on that mobility, flexibility, stability scale. So I think that's super valuable for people always to aim to see that overhead squat. I know for myself, when I started really overheading squatting, a lot of my shoulder issues went to the wayside from coming from a global gym perspective and bench pressing. But when I started overhead squatting, a lot of those issues went away just because of the dynamics that go into the demands of an overhead squat. And we have a 3.0x1 tempo here, which means we need a 3-second lowering of that, which also challenges tons of stability, tons of control throughout that whole range of motion. So not just going down and up, but being able to control through that whole movement pattern.
Good deal.
Now, when we look at the Metcon here, a lot of times when we do partner workouts, we're just asking for the whole overall time. But now we're asking each individual to time their individual splits. And this isn't something that we normally do, and it's a fantastic way to approach a partner workout, because when you think about this scenario, there's a work-rest scenario built in. So you are asking yourself to work pretty hard when you get to work. 300-meter row, for really good athletes or powerful athletes or even our taller athletes, that 300-meter row is going to be right around the 1 minute mark. And that's at an aggressive pace. That's not all out. 12 burpees over the bar. Most of the time we're looking for a lateral burpee here within class setting just because of logistics and space that we can work around, where a really fast clip of a burpee is about a 2.5 to 3 second per rep burpee. But that's probably more on the faster, higher end, more elite side. So for our general population, we kind of would like to see like a 4 to 5 second burpee here, because you are going to be rewarded with some rest.
Right.
Now we go into that overhead squat. We're asking you to be super stable while breathing heavy.
And that 115 is a moderate to moderately heavy load for most of our athletes.
For most of our athletes, correct. Yes, most
Right.
of our athletes, right.
So naturally, I would think if that was the case and that was a moderately heavy load, I'm going to tank the row and the burpees a little bit.
Right.
Okay.
But
Because you're talking about a Raznik 300 1 minute.
Well, Raznik's probably going to be like 45 seconds on that. Maybe not that fast, but without batting an eye. Well, there's also a couple of things, too, where I'm such a big fan, and I normally speak this individually in my classes, so now I'll say this to everybody right now. I always want people to challenge themselves to get uncomfortable, especially when you're going to get a little bit of rest. Each round is going to take roughly 2 minutes, just kind of looking at it without thinking about the dynamics of transitions and everything. So if we're thinking about 2 minutes, challenge yourself on the row, see if you can move fast on your burpees while you're a little bit fatigued, and now challenge your overhead squat position. There's a lot of ways that we can improve within this workout by getting uncomfortable, seeing if we can function while under heavy respiration doing some overhead squats. You're getting to rest when you get done with those overhead squats, so challenge yourself. See if you can step up to that task and that challenge of being able to move that barbell while being extremely winded.
So with overhead squats, and today in particular, I know the goal may change on different days, but it's a very challenging movement for a lot of people
Yes.
in the gym. And so for Friday's purposes, you're going 3-3-3, building in weight. For somebody who's very challenged to get in that bottom position, you know, how would you approach that day? Are you thinking more, hey, let's find your range of motion and go for it, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that comes on to the coach's responsibility within that moment to be able to address and assess every individual athlete. When you watch them overhead squat in that strength portion of it,
Right.
that should be an opportunity for the athlete to get their own personal feedback to think what they could do in the workout,
Right.
but also the coach seeing some things. Hey, maybe where our ankles are lacking some good dorsiflexion here.
Right.
Maybe our hips are super tight. Maybe we can make some tweaks and changes and some dynamic movement in order to better prepare you for the Metcon. Or maybe we just do an extremely, extremely light barbell just to improve that movement pattern.
Right.
Because when we talk about stability while we're tired, and especially in this overhead squat, the diaphragm which the diaphragm is a major spine stabilizer.
Right.
But what's our diaphragm's other major responsibility?
Breathing.
Breathing.
Yeah.
So I would like to see people have to breathe, but learn how to stabilize the spine while doing that overhead squat, even if it's a lot lighter.
Right.
That gives them the opportunity to practice the dual responsibilities of that diaphragm.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. That's perfect.
Yeah, one other thing I had for you, Ben, was are you looking for repeated work capacity set to set on those 5 rounds? Or how much deviation should we see from set 1 to set 5?
I think there will be some attrition in this, and a lot of it has not just accumulating the volume, but the intensity that you would look for on the row, trying to push that. So there will be some attrition, but we don't want to see a major drop off. What we would like to see is maybe a 5 to 10 second drop off from each round to round.
Okay.
And that is when we look at sustainable. We talked about sustainable bouts early on when we started down this whole week. Sustainable bouts is what's going to move the needle for the most part of people achieving better aerobic fitness and more long-term projecting of health and wellness. So we want to see them close. We don't want to see this major drop off of saying 2 minutes the first round and then 4.5 minutes the last round.
Got you.
So maybe like a 2, 210, 217, just very slow incremental drills.
Yeah, and then so I guess looking at Saturday, looks like we get our typical partner type workout with some med ball cleans.
Yes, don't underestimate the med ball clean.
Not at 180, 60, 40, and 20 reps.
Yes.
Was that 300? So we're doing 150 med ball cleans a day?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Coupled with a push press wall ball shot. So we're doing a small dip of the legs.
Yes.
And instead of relying on those hips like we always do, it's going to be all upper body.
Yes. And a good thing I think that you athletes can learn from that is we don't always see it in the more veteran CrossFit athletes or high intensity athletes. The segmenting of the wall ball shot. We see a lot of beginners when they dive down this realm of Fit Club, CrossFit, high intensity exercise that they squat and then push press. And when you have some high volume like that, you're going to learn pretty quickly how much your legs really help you in that squat. So it's kind of this good self-awareness piece to go through as yourself as an athlete.
You have trouble walking on Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's, big time there.
Yeah, don't underestimate the med ball clean.
Oh, yeah.
I think the med ball clean might be one of the sneakiest exercises. It is.
Every time.
I was once told, and I love it, the med ball clean is like the teddy bear of CrossFit cleans. Because you have the soft medicine ball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not the intimidating like the barbell.
Yeah, the teddy
Look,
bear.
where's the demonic piece come in?
After you realize, hey, that's pretty hard.
It's the twisted teddy.
Yes. Twisted.
Go
ahead. There's actually something.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. So guys, something that we want to say right now, the week is set in stone. It's not set in stone, and we have the following week written as well. But when everybody enters their data into Wodify, we use those metrics to design, adjust, up or down moving forward for the rest of the cycle. And we even use data from this week to look at workouts or cycles for 6 to 8 weeks from now. So when you guys put your information in Wodify, it's super valuable for us as programmers to utilize those data points to design workouts moving forward in the future.
And that's top to bottom, Ben. It's not
100%.
You know, we find out how hard we can push our athletes, but then at the same time, athletes that might be on the bottom, like I'll hop in on this squat day, we'll know what the weakest squatter does in the gym, and we can assess programming off that basis.
In general, if you go to .com, CrossFit.com that is, most of the time the females' loads are set at about 70% of the males. Well, when we use the data and we look at what the females do across the board, say on this back squat on Monday, we might tinker that down a little bit to 60% for a workout in the future based on the data that we get.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. So you got any teasers for us? Like, what's the next block of programming possibly looking like?
So we have a couple of things on the horizon that
Okay.
we want to tease. We want to have a intra box challenge that will pit
Yeah.
the morning classes against the evening classes. And so that's going to be probably about 9 weeks away, I think. We said spring.
Yeah, so what, last week of March, first week of April?
Yeah, so we said spring with that. So we're going to do like a spring fling intra-squad competition. So that'll be more about fun. It'll be pitting the two AM and PMs together. So that's on tap. Of course, a little bit after that, we have Murph. And for everybody that has never done Murph, for those of you that love Murph or don't like Murph, or you're there because you want to honor the late Michael Murphy, 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, 1 mile run. It's a lot of volume. So one of the things that we do want to prepare, we don't ever want anybody to get hurt, so we will go through a cycle of Murph accumulation, we'll say, or Murph prep, where we will have this traditional periodization of accumulating volume, progressing volume of running, of pull-ups, of push-ups, of air squats, so we can get some better tissue tolerance, some better muscle endurance for those movement patterns.
Good deal.
And I think we'll have a couple of weeks that we'll try to do some fun stuff in between before we get into some Murph prep. But those are a couple of things that we've got on the calendar so far.
You programmed the Sweetheart workout yet, or is that revealed?
Oh yeah, it's up. We're
It's
ready.
up. It's
Well,
revealed.
it's not revealed, but we've got it ready.
Okay, Sweetheart workout is ready. You're going to get comfortable in every piece of the gym.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
You're gonna utilize just about every space of the gym floor when you do the Sweetheart workout.
Okay. What day is that?
It is Saturday the 15th.
The 15th.
Yes.
Okay.
So don't have too much fun with your sweetheart the night before, because you got to work out and sweat together
Yeah.
the next morning.
Either that or get some good Sweetheart cake and carb load the night before.
Oh, that will prep you right for the Sweetheart workout. Okay.
Yes, maybe not. I don't know.
All right. Nice.
Good deal, Ben. This was fun.
Yeah.
Some valuable insight on the why behind what we do at Thunder Valley.
Looks like a great week of programming. I mean, just looking at it from top to bottom, it's very thought out. It's on point. Like, it's a very challenging week, but it's excellent.
Well, let's just go ahead on film and get a verbal commitment on how many days you're coming next week, since you think it's so good.
That's a good question. I'll have to get back to you.
Let's.
Before we close out,
Yeah.
I want to finish a statement, just kind of let everybody know that when Ryan said we do think these things out, our goal as writing workouts, in our opinion and our belief system, is to have good balance from pushing and pulling all different movement patterns. Most of our population sits at a desk or sits in a car all day. So we want to make sure that we utilize movement patterns that will improve postural balance within individuals. I know, it keeps your profession strong.
Sure.
However, we want to help people just live healthier lives. We also want to design programming from today and for the next year that improves and increases everybody's functionality throughout life as we get older. And we can do that through intelligent approaches in how we design our workouts.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah.
Brad, thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you for coming on. We will not see Ryan next week, or were you kidding?
No, I was only kidding.
Okay, good. So
I'm not traveling for a couple weeks.
we might see you next week.
Yeah, we'll be around.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in.
Signing out.